Greetings, church. I am right now at the PSU library, and just got back from work earlier today with Labor Ready, and I had a video that I had completed yesterday morning, and I didn't get a chance to upload it. So, and in between the time when the last video was completed with this one, the hits were just continued. Nothing has changed. I just got out of a job working for a company, a general contractor, and this guy is something else. You know, it's one thing to work for an employer that has the clan spirit, but it's another when they use other workers to go after you, and to antagonize you to fight. I don't like that at all. I don't go to work to fight. I don't want to remind the employer that the job site is not a boxing match, and I had to do that. I had to remind him of OSHA. I had to remind, and the worst part about it is I was working with people who reminded me of members of the church, members of Grace Community Church. The manager that is right now managing the apartment complex where I'm at. This morning I was at the top of my lungs, basically, dealing and responding to the fact that they came into the apartment and stuck needles in my hands and feet, and it was painful. I didn't take it. I gave it back. Last night after work, they wouldn't stop coming after me. I had Bible study after work. Afterwards, I went to the movie theater to look at what was playing, but then the community would stop coming out. So I thought they wanted me to come out, and I went over to 122nd. And when I got there, it was the opposite. They don't want anything, and they discriminate. And I'm thinking, I don't understand these people. But the update is, the new information is that because I was yelling and screaming this morning, and it's really not yelling and screaming, it's more or less reproving and rebuking and exhorting the fact that these people have violated a leasing agreement, and it's like you work for an employer and they violate OSHA, they violate the EEOC laws, Equal Employment Opportunity laws. They discriminate, and they do it subtly, and you have to remind them of where they're at and what the nature of the relationship is. Without this right here, I don't have a relationship with any of these employers. And the fact that they bring people to pretend to be workers of these companies is insulting. I'm sent by Labor Ready to go work for a company, but then I'm not dealing with the real manager. I'm dealing with a representative of the gay community or a former member of Grace. I'm not dealing with real workers. They're telling me that this is my parent, this is my uncle, this is my brother, this is my father, and they're not even related. They're just European clanspeople looking for a hit. And the worst part about it is MacArthur's in the background somewhere, and these people that are representing members of his congregation, former members of his congregation. So I'm thinking, they have people spread out through the different churches and through the different congregations waiting for an opportunity to strike me and to hit me, and I know the White House is somehow involved. I can't explain it through their representatives. I'm not sure if they're the gay community, but I know that Barack and his staff are, the House of Representatives is somehow involved. And so I would caution you in accepting these people coming into your church establishments and taking false positions of pastor and elder or leader just to deal with me. Okay, if they're doing it through Labor Ready, and I had to call it in. I called it in, and I told them exactly what happened. Several times I had to come out on the under my breath, not to his face, but I had to talk to the employer, and I had to tell him, he addressed the issue, the management's issue with me, that I was yelling, and I told him, well, sometimes you need a good yelling. What else am I going to say? They trespassed. They sexually assaulted me in my home. They stuck needles in my feet. They abused me and left me in pain. Where is that on the lease? So, and it seems to be it's moving from the apartment complexes into your congregations. Now, I don't know who in your congregations are part of the elder board. If you have Klansmen, I would caution you, because the Word of God doesn't call us to wear a hood or a robe. The Word of God doesn't call us to practice same-sex and none of those things, And these people seem to be going in that direction. Now, I can't tell a man what kind of faith he's supposed to have, but I can definitely exhort you and remind you that, and here's another thing too. I think one of his issues with me was that I was trying to usurp his authority, or I was trying to get the job done, and that also is out of Grace Community Church. I think the issue was with John Fonda. We as Christians have the Spirit, and we take initiative to do the work. We're not trying to take or usurp your position. And MacArthur is a big complainer about that. He wants African subordinates, and he wants men who want to submit to him and act like dummies, like they don't have minds of their own. That's not who we are as a body. We submit to the Lordship of Christ. We don't submit to people like MacArthur. MacArthur doesn't determine our beginning or our end. Neither does the community that support him, the clan that supports him out of grace, and the people who apparently in this Portland area who want to support him. I've got churches, or Klansmen masking themselves as churches. Church pastors, church elders, church leaders, people from Southern California, and for what purpose or reason, but to strike me down, basically to usurp or to suppress. So I would encourage you and also warn you that God does not approve of these things. It's bad enough that Romans 1 talk about the suppressing of the truth, but now you want to suppress the brethren. I think the whole book of Onesimus, Philemon, was to release the Christians from slavery, not to put them under false authorities. And I suspect that MacArthur is going in that direction, or he's already there. So I don't think any of these people would come out if he wasn't somehow involved. My ins and out of these taboos and places, not because I want it to be there, but because this is where they're prodding me and hitting me, and then they're insulting me, right? They're insulting my skin color, and they're insulting, they say, okay, we want that, we want sex, okay? They don't say it verbally, but the way they communicate it is very clear that that's what they want. And then when I get there, they discriminate. And I'm thinking, yay for the discrimination, because it's a sin anyway, right? But then it becomes, well, if we don't hit you this way, we're gonna hit you the other way. In other words, we're gonna get a black woman to come into your home and assault you. Look, I don't know the black women in your congregations, and I would hate to come on a Sunday morning to worship, only to have a slew of black women sitting there as the hit, representing the community because I shook the pastor's hand, or I spoke to one of the elders, or I spoke to another Christian. And so I would say to you, be careful with these people, and do not open the door of leadership for them, or even fellowship. Be cautious. They're all over the church, and they're using representatives of representatives. And I'm sure many of you are aware of this. But I would tell you to be careful, because it's hurting the church. If it's hurting me, if a pinky is hurting you, if somebody stick a needle in your pinky, your whole body's going to feel it. So if they're hurting me, they're hurting the body. And whether or not, we're going to feel it. We're going to feel it. It's going to affect us. It's going to affect our performance on Sunday mornings. So I would caution you and tell you to be careful. All right? And watch out for MacArthur, because he's like a Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. And I'm beginning to be that way because of the situations and the circumstances they're putting me in.